Welcome back to Module 7. In this module, we'll be talking about financial issues in sport. We'll be pulling from chapters 1 and 17. The nature of sport itself poses a number of unique issues in financing it. Sport managers are faced every day with a unique set of questions on how to go about financing their sport or organization. Here are some common examples that can happen in day-to-day sport financing. How do you create team budgets to run a team, gym, or facility? Should the cost of tickets go up or remain the same? Should colleges cut teams in order to close the budget gap? Should they add teams in order to produce more revenue? How do you obtain funds for a new sport business, new stadium, or new college campus athletic facility? We'll be addressing some of these throughout the module. To say that sport is valuable is a gross understatement. This slide gives us a glimpse at how truly valuable sport is, and this only considers American society. Just to name a couple of interesting facts, the Dallas Cowboys are worth $1.8 billion, and that was in 2011. Also in 2011, the New York Yankees were worth $1.7 billion. NFL is the biggest moneymaker, and those come through a number of TV deals. Because television corporations view sport as so valuable, they are willing to spend exorbitant amounts of money on airing those sporting events. NASCAR, interestingly, is second only to the NFL in sports viewership. Furthermore, we've seen large broadcasting contracts in the NCAA for March Madness. Advances in technology are changing how sports are attracting fans and ultimately being broadcast to fans. Things like fantasy leagues, apps, streaming are helping to fuel larger contracts. Previous modules have addressed how a sport manager might go about raising capital to fund the construction of a new facility. This slide considers current trends in financing stadiums and arenas. Through 2001, there were approximately 111 major professional sport franchises in North America, and almost 92% of those franchises had moved into a newly renovated or new stadium. In 2009, more than $3.2 billion was spent on professional facilities, and more than $1 billion was spent on college facilities. So what does a taxpayer pay when it comes to these stadium constructions? Total taxpayers' cost for stadium and arenas built from roughly 1999 through 2000 has been estimated at more than $9 billion. The average level of team contribution to new NFL stadiums built through 2001 was only 29%, or about $82 million of the typical construction cost for a football stadium. So what is the current trend in financing stadiums and arenas? As we saw in previous modules, owners and sport organizations are putting the onus of building stadiums and arenas on the taxpayers. This slide considers current trends in financing stadiums and arenas a little more in depth. Many studies have shown that very few facilities are able to cover their cost. The cost of building a new facility is exponential. Furthermore, one major study concluded that older arenas with little debt and numerous scheduled events tended to make the highest profit, while new stadiums for outdoor sports were least profitable. This does make sense in many ways. Older facilities that are used often, that have little debt, will make money, but those new stadiums that are highly costly and are only suited for outdoor sports do not have as many opportunities to make money. New stadium and arena projects rely on various funding techniques, and one of those has been municipal bonds. That's a new trend we're seeing. Municipal bonds are notes and bonds that are publicly traded debt with the benefit of not having to comply with all of the registration requirements that other publicly traded securities must follow. Even though sport has been mostly insulated from the recession nonetheless has had an impact on sport. One of the ways we've seen that is that ticket sales have decreased at many facilities. It should be noted though, in previous slides we saw that TV deals has gone up as fans are choosing to stay home to watch sport rather than to attend it in person. In addition, sponsors have not had the same expendable income and therefore have reduced or decreased their sponsorships of sport organizations. There's been increased pressure on government agencies due to a decrease in tax revenue. This has impacted our parks and recreation departments. The recession has also impacted universities and collegiate sport. Schools have trimmed budgets and there have been battles across campuses regarding the push to reduce intercollegiate athletic funding in light of increase in tuition requirements and ultimately reduction in government subsidies. Not only has the recession had some impact on sport, but it's also had an impact on recreational sport and activities. One of the areas we've seen the greatest impact is golf. Golf has seen major decreases. Private club memberships have dropped, and in addition, 140 of the nation's 16,000 golf courses closed as we've seen participation and or golf numbers drop. Also, special events have suffered. Prior to, there were 40 different state games throughout the U.S., and in 2010, because of budget concerns, this dropped to only 29 state games throughout the U.S. In short, people don't have expendable income to put on recreational activities following the recession. Thus, recreational sport has been impacted. In addition to the recession impacting recreational sport, we've also seen it impact health clubs. Interestingly, it has been noted that membership statistics indicate that the general public view club memberships or health club memberships as luxury items. And in times of hard economic times, people are willing to sacrifice those luxury items. Then it makes it difficult to expand because of reduced capital. So what are some solutions to this? First of all, there's the elimination or consolidation of low attendance classes to reduce cost. Also a solution is that requires staff to work multiple areas. Finally, creating incentive programs to help sell more memberships and try to upsell current members with additional services. High school sport has not been insulated from financial issues. There are a number of trends that are impacting the financial state of high school sport. First of all, revenues are being tightened, particularly from government and our sponsorships. We've seen reduced gate receipts as well. With reduction in revenues, though, there has become an increase in expenses. As a result, high schools are starting to adopt pay-to-play requirements. So what are some solutions to this? While maybe a controversial solution, one of the ways to reduce these financial issues is to reduce the number of sports being sponsored. Also, we could think about reducing the number of scheduled games so there's less travel and day-to-day game cost. There may even be a realignment of conferences to help deal with this financial trend. This slide considers how intercollegiate sport has responded to tough financial times. An interesting trend that is happening is that colleges are using annual subsidies, such as student fees, to help make up for the deficit in athletics. Furthermore, we've seen faculty members become unhappy with the rise in collegiate expenditures, such as those large salary for some of the coaches. So what are some solutions to these financial issues for intercollegiate sport? As stated with high school sport, potentially eliminate sports. Could also think about reducing funds for recruiting and travel, reduce the number of teams making playoffs, and even a simple fix is something along the lines of eliminating printed versions of media guides, doing this day-to-day activity in an electronic version will reduce cost in the long term. As stated prior, one of the impacts of the recession on professional sport has been that attendance to games has decreased. Also, corporations are willing to only sign short-term leases rather than the standard longer-term leases. And advertisement has gone down on professional sport. So what are some possible solutions to these trends? One, be cost sensitive, especially for the fans, making sure that the game experiences are as meaningful as possible so that fans want to return. And potentially finding out why fans don't want to attend a game and are more willing to watch it at home might help increase or drive up ticket sales once again. Here are some questions for thought. Use them as application and fact checking.